and welcome back to Boys and Girls Club of Greater St. Louis online virtual programming. My name is Miss Elise, and today you are joining us for another activity of Be a Star. Thank you for finding the time to join us today. I'm really looking forward to our lesson, so let's get started. For those of you who are joining for our first time today, check out this clip on a quick little refresher on our Be a Star program.
So a little bit of background about the Be a Star program before we jump in is the World Wrestling Entertainment, or WWE for all my wrestling fans out there, partnered with the Yale Center of Emotional Intelligence as well as the Boys and Girls Club of America to create the Be a Star program. The STAR part in the Be a Star program stands for Show Tolerance and Respect. In this program, we learn about our social and emotional skills and ways that we can strengthen them. So something that we can build upon with our emotional intelligence is using the RULER acronym. And today, specifically, we're going to be focusing on the R part of the RULER, which stands for recognizing emotions with ourselves and in others. Now let's get started.
So I'm really looking forward to today's lesson. In our previous activity of Be a Star, first session, we learned about how our emotions change throughout our day. We might experience a lot or a variety of emotions. In today's lesson, we're going to be reviewing or learning about how our emotions affect us. Now, the objectives and goals are we're going to work on increasing and strengthening our emotional self-awareness. We're also going to be practicing how can we recognize, label, and understand not only our own emotions, but others' emotions as well. We'll create our own mood meter, and then we'll also be participating in some activities that practice our ability to kind of regulate our emotions. So how are we managing or working through our feelings? Let's get started. We're going to be doing some arts and crafts, so any supplies that you have are welcome and encouraged. If you've got colored pencils, different color pieces of paper, markers, whatever, everything is welcomed. However, all that you absolutely need are just pieces of paper, a couple of sheets will work, and a writing utensil. So our word of the day is self-care. Let's go over it together. Random Acts of Kindness actually provided this definition and I really liked it. So self-care, as defined by them, is caring for yourself mentally, physically, emotionally, and socially through your words, actions, and thoughts. So let's break that down a little bit. How are we practicing self-care mentally right now? We might be ending the school year, or we are ending the school year sooner, and as we're completing maybe any last minute assignments while we're working through our day, are we making sure that we're taking brain breaks? Are we giving ourselves a moment to mentally recharge? How are we taking care of ourselves physically? As we've been inside, we might not be moving our bodies as often as we're used to. So are we being intentional about practicing any type of self-care of us moving outside, going on walks, exercises that we can do maybe online through YouTube or other programs out there. Check out Boys and Girls Club. We've got some great videos on ways to practice self-care for your body as well. Emotionally, how are we practicing emotional self-care? If we are feeling a lot right now, feelings of uncertainty, overwhelmness, being anxious, those are all a lot of really common feelings that people are experiencing. How are we managing our emotions and again, taking care of ourselves? And lastly, socially, are we being intentional about our times and interactions? We might have to be present for Zoom meetings, but are we following up afterwards with intentional text messages or phone calls to people that matter to us? And as we look at the definition of self-care, we're going to be incorporating that into our activities today. So I really want you to keep this word in mind, self-care, and how are we practicing that, again, both mentally, physically, emotionally, and socially. All right, so this is when we're going to be whipping out our pieces of paper. Any writing utensils, but again, feel free if you've got any other art or craft supplies, that is very much so welcome. We are going to be starting off with creating our own mood meter. I know this might seem a little bit academic math related, but I promise you we're not going into that. But kind of think of it as a way, again, as we gauge our feelings. What are we doing today? We're practicing on increasing and strengthening our self-awareness. So we're going to be tapping into ourselves. This is a great activity once we're done creating this to use later on as a means to check in with ourselves and again figure out or gauge where on the meter am I currently feeling. So how you want to start is with your piece of paper, you want to have two main lines that intersect one another. So you'll have your vertical line and then your horizontal line, making almost a T. You want to have 4 separate quadrants. And then once you've created those 2 lines, you're going to make 5 dashes on each of those quadrant lines. On your lines going down from the bottom and to the left, think of that as negative. And then for your lines moving up and to the right, those are going to be positive. So take a moment, spend the next 30 seconds or a minute, and create your own mood meter. So the mood meter has 4 separate quadrants. What you can do is if you do have any coloring pencils or sheets of colorful paper, you can kind of over here, I'm going to use this as a guide later on. In our top left corner, we're going to have it be red. In our top right corner, it's going to be yellow. Our bottom right corner is green, and then our bottom left corner is blue. Okay, so on the horizontal line, we're measuring feelings of pleasantness. So -5, we're feeling the most negative thing or negative pleasant thing possible you can think of. And then in the +5, it's the most pleasant thing you can think of. As well as our vertical axis, which is measuring our energy. So if we start at -5, that means we have really low energy. And if we work our way all the way up to +5, that means we have super high energy. So if we have super high energy, that might mean that our heart rate is beating really fast, we're breathing heavily, we might have a lot of energy again to go do different activities. And then as we work our way down the scale, we have lower energy. So that means we're so tired maybe to even move if we're at a -5. In each quadrant, we have again a combination of our energy and our feelings of pleasantness. So in our bottom, in our blue quadrant, we have low energies and feelings of unpleasantness. If we are in our red quadrant, we have feelings that are unpleasant, but we have a lot of high energy. As we move over to our left quadrant, then that means we've got still high energy, but more feelings of pleasantness. And then as we work our way down, we have lower energy, but still feelings of pleasantness. To make things a little bit more interesting, I'm going to challenge you for the next minute to have on a separate sheet of paper, write down as many emotions or feeling words that you can think of possible. I'm going to do the same thing, and once we get back in a minute, let's see if you beat me, okay? So on the count of 5, get your piece of paper and pencil ready and write as many feelings or emotions that you can think of, okay? So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So I got 17 words in a minute. How many did y'all get? This is going to be actually going into our next activity, leading into our mood meter. So I want you to follow along with the list that you created. And as we go through, I'm going to pick out an emotion or a feeling word. It'll be random. So it's just like if I was in person with you and you could share one of your feelings with me. What we're going to do is, again, I'll pick a feeling word and we're going to figure out where on the mood meter would this be placed. Feelings, we're taking in consideration again our energy level and our thoughts of pleasantness or feelings of pleasantness. So follow along with me, and again on your list, see if you can figure out where on the quadrant would your feelings be placed. So the first word, anxious. That's a very common feeling right now. Being anxious means you might just be deeply concerned about an uncertain event. Okay, so if we're feeling kind of anxious for something, let's think about it. Is this more of a pleasant feeling or an unpleasant feeling? I think a lot of people don't like to feel anxious, so I'm gonna say it's more in the unpleasant. And if I am feeling anxious, do you think I have low energy or high energy? So when people get anxious, sometimes their heart rate accelerates. So remember what I said earlier, if our heart rate is beating and we have more high energy, we're gonna be on the positive side. And then again, we just said that wasn't the most pleasant feeling. So this would be in the wedge quadrant. Okay. Another one, exhausted. I don't know about you, but sometimes even if I'm staying inside after a full day, I'm exhausted. I'm ready to go to bed. So if we're feeling worn out and depleted of our energy, you might be feeling exhausted. Okay, I just said I didn't have a lot of energy, so we already know it's gonna be kind of on the lower end. And do a lot of people like to feel exhausted? Sometimes, I might put this in the middle because sometimes, say let's go on a workout. You might like the feeling of being exhausted. It means that you worked really hard at something. But you also might be exhausted if you've given all of your energy and then you don't get anything in return. Sometimes that might put us in a blue section. So I'm gonna say exhausted might be a little bit close to the blue and green, but it's gonna be in the lower energy in our blue quadrant. Okay, one more feeling word. I'm looking this time because I want to do something different. I'm sorry, I'm letting you know. I'm looking. Proud. Okay, for all my seniors out there that are graduating, y'all should feel proud of yourself. This has been a long school year, but you have put so much time and energy into this work. And so you should feel positive about what you've done, what you've accomplished. You put in a lot of energy, so we're gonna be on the top half of our mood meter. And this is a feeling that a lot of people like to feel. So this is more of a pleasant feeling. So we're gonna be in the left quadrant in our yellow top half. So this is just kind of, again, an example of a few feelings and where exactly on the mood meter those might fall. I want you again to look over your words and at your own pace and rate, figure out from your list, where do you think your feelings would fall in the mood meter? And check it out and compare. Okay, for our self-care countdown, following with me, we're gonna do the first one, and as we work our way down the list, I'll make a check off, so we'll feel even more accomplished. So for our first one, it says take 8 deep breaths. When you're taking a deep breath, I want you to inhale through your nose slowly, and you're gonna hold for 1 second, and then we're gonna exhale through our mouth just as slowly as possible. So I'm gonna do one as an example, and then for the remainder of the 7, because we have to do 8 total, it's gonna be silent. But just follow along with me, okay? So for the first one, we're gonna take an inhale through our nose, hold for a second, and exhale through our mouth. Inhale. This way, but I feel like it's almost a little self-care by simply checking off something off of our to-do list. And in this to-do list, it's actually a really good to-do list. We're again making sure that we are focusing on ourselves and taking care of ourselves. So good job. We just got one done. Let's move on to the second. Stretch for 7 seconds. So if you are sitting, stand up for a moment. If you are able to, create a little space for yourself. Feet are hip width apart. You've got a firm stance, planted feet. I want you to take your arms, sweep them over your head, and stretch as high as you can. Count with me for 7 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Release. Move your body. How's that feel? Sometimes, when we are sitting, again, we're not used to maybe moving as much now that we've been inside. It's really good to just take 7 seconds out of your day and stretch, move your body. Make sure that we're, again, keeping that movement going. So good job. Think of 6 things that you like personally about you. So take a minute and write down 6 things that you would love to share with the world that make you uniquely you. Laughter can be the greatest cure, as a lot of people say, so let's think of 5 things that make you laugh. Okay, think of 4 people in your life that have shown you support and kindness. Is that anyone in your family? Is that a friend? Is that hopefully someone from Boys and Girls Club, either a staff member or another peer or member in Boys and Girls Club? Any of your teachers, if you have coaches, mentor, who in your life? Try to think of 4 people that have shown you genuine kindness and support. Take a minute and write it down. Find 3 things. This is a scavenger-like kind of activity hunt part where I'm going to challenge you in your home right now. Look around in your immediate space. What are 3 things that you can do that'll help you feel calm? And I want you to practice one of them. So we're going to pause right now. I'm going to give you 30 seconds. I want you, if possible, to try to find something in your home that you can do to help you become calm, okay? Try it out. We're almost there. So we got to drink 2 glasses of water throughout our day. But I'm going to challenge you. Can you do 2 glasses of water right now, here and now? Let's go see. Okay, that's 1. I did it. Wow. I'm hydrated. How about you? Well, I can successfully say that I have crossed this off my list. And last but not least, say 1 positive thing about yourself to yourself. You can either say it out loud or you can say it inwardly to you. Keep it inside. I am very, very, very proud of myself for completing this entire list. I know I can do difficult things, and this is just a reminder of me of how important it is to take the time, just a few seconds out of my day, to make sure that I am practicing self-care routines. Are you? Alright, so you completed another Be a Star program. This was our 2nd session. Today we talked about practicing self-care as well as going over and creating your own mood meter. The importance around the song, what I'm going to leave you today with and ask you, why is it important to know why emotions affect us? Take a second, think about our quote of the day, think about our word of the day, really sit and reflect. Why is it important to know how our emotions affect us? I hope you feel like you have learned a lot about yourself today. We were able to, again, continue to increase and strengthen our emotional self-awareness. Through the use of the mood meter that you were able to create, we were practicing recognizing and being able to identify our emotions, physiology, so in our body, our energy, as well as our thoughts, our unpleasant or pleasantness. So through the mood meter, we're able to, again, identify our feelings, what's going on within us. So that way, when we're practicing our self-care routines, we know what we need to do, again, to be able to work through our emotions. Different emotions might need different self-care routines, but it's important, again, that we're able to check in with ourselves so we know how to advocate and speak up about the things that we need to make sure that we are staying safe, well, and practicing self-care. So again, caring for ourselves mentally, physically, emotionally, and socially through our words, our actions, and our thoughts. Thank you again so much for taking the time today to join us for our Be a Star program. I hope everyone is staying safe. Boys and Girls Club misses everyone dearly. We are here to support our families, and I hope you, again, are taking care. Thanks so much. If you or someone you know have been struggling with overwhelming thoughts and emotions, please do not hesitate to seek out support from the different resources available to you 24/7.